Okay, today we're talking about Chapter 6, Section 2, the metric system. So, in Section 1, Chapter 6, Section 1, we talked about the imperial system, or I forgot what the book called it, but basically, the unit of measurements that the United States does. And we're all used to it. Sometimes we have to think, um, how many ounces are in a cup, right? And of course, if you do it enough, you can memorize it pretty easily. There's 16 ounces in a well, no, there's 8 ounces in a cup. Sorry, um, that's it. I just proved my point, right? Um, However, there's another system that obviously you're probably familiar with, and that is going to be called the metric system. Now, the metric system is pretty nice because there's not much thinking involved when you're trying to remember how many of what unit is in another unit. So let's go ahead and check this out right here. So the metric system of measurement is used by about 90% of the people in the world. The United States is the only major industrialized country still committed to the U.S. customary system. Even in the U.S., the metric system is used in many fields of study and business, such as medicine, science, the computer industry, and the military. Industries involved in international trade must be familiar with the metric system. So the meter is the basic unit of length in the metric system. So the meter is one that we basically say well, let's just say, okay, well, honestly, that about sums it up. It's a basic unit of length, and everything stems from the meter. Okay, it is a little longer than a yard. Smaller and larger units are named by putting a prefix in front of the basic unit. For example, centimeter uh, and kilometer. The prefixes we will use are shown in boldface print in Table 1. So let's look at right here at the meter. And if we're going to get smaller, a tenth of a meter is a decimeter or decimeter. A 100th of a meter is a centimeter, and a 1,000th of a meter is a millimeter. And that's going smaller. If we want to go larger, a decameter is 10 meters, a hectometer is 100 meters, and kilometer is 1,000 meters. Now, all these prefixes, we're going to reuse them for other things. Right? The only thing that's going to change is going to be that basic unit length, right? Well, okay, not basic unit length, but basic unit of measurement, not necessarily length. Length is specifically meter. So writing metric units of measure. So in the metric system, a 0 is written to the left of the decimal point if there is no whole number part. 0.287. No commas are used in writing numbers. If a number has more than 4 digits to the left or to the right decimal point, the digits are grouped in threes from the decimal point with a space between the group. So instead of writing 25 and then comma 000, there's just a space put there. And then same over here. We just put a space to kind of denote that it's a considerably large number or smaller number. Alrighty. So, as indicated in the first table, the metric units of length are related to each other by powers of 10. That is simply multiplying by 10 to get the equivalent measurement. So, for example, 1 meter is equal to 10 decimeters, is equal to 100 centimeters, is equal to 1,000 millimeters. All right, conversely, divide by 10 to get the equivalent measurement in the next larger. So we have 1 millimeter, and we divide by 10, we get to 0.1 centimeters. Divide by 10, we get to 0.01 decimeters, and then divide by 10, we get to 0.001 meters. So there are two basic methods of converting units of measurement in the metric system. So we multiply by the unit fractions and by moving decimal points. Right? And we'll go over this in an example. So using unit fractions to convert measurements, the numerator should be in the units of measure of the desired result, and the denominator should be in the original units of measure. Now we did this in the previous section, kind of, where we canceled things out. So we're going to do that here as well. Alrighty, so example 1, we're going to convert 5.6 meters into centimeters. So the way we do this, so let me fix my computer. Alrighty, so we have 5.6 meters. Okay, so 5.6 meters. We want to convert it to centimeters. Okay. Well, we're going to multiply it by, again, a very clever way of doing this is multiplying it by, well, hang on, I forgot the most important part, m. Okay, so again, 5.6 m is the same thing as saying 5.6 over 1. Doesn't really matter what that 1 is. And then let me take that back as well. All right, the 1 is more or less just a placeholder to really get you acclimated to multiplying fractions. And again, we did this in chapter 6, section 1, but we're just going to reintroduce it and do it again now. So if you recall, in the last section, if I had a meter up here, I'm going to want a meter down here so I can cancel those units. Okay, so 1 meter. All right, well, how many centimeters are in a meter? Okay, because again, what we're doing is we're trying to get centimeters there. All right, well, there are 100 centimeters in a meter. Okay, and then from here we cancel the meter, and then what we're left with is 5.6 times 100 centimeters. This is going to be the unit we use, and then 1 times 1, which is just going to be 1. So 5.6 times 100, well, that's just going to be 560. 560 centimeters. B, all right, 23.5 centimeters to millimeters. Okay, so we're going to have kind of the same, well, we are going to have the exact same kind of method to do this. So 23.5 centimeters. Again, you don't have to put the 1. I just put that there so we can really understand why we are multiplying or how we are multiplying our fractions. Sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied here today. I don't think I've had my coffee. So we know that since there's a centimeter here, I need to put a centimeter in the denominator of the fraction down here. Okay, so do 1 centimeter. We're trying to convert to millimeters, you see. We're trying to convert to millimeters. All right, well, how many millimeters are in 1 centimeter? Well, there will be 10 millimeters. And same thing, we're going to cancel centimeters, and we're just going to do the math here, which, by the way, another reason why metric is pretty easy to hang on, let me finish this before I try to complete my thought here. So along with it being the units being pretty easy, they're all being tenths or in some form of 10, multiple or division, to go from the next rather up unit or down unit. Whew, tongue-tied there. All right. It's also pretty easy to do the arithmetic. So what I mean by that is I don't have to pull out my calculator for 100 times 5.6. Right? Well, I know 100 times 5.6 is going to be 560. 10 times 235, well, that's, again, pretty easy. Is 10 times 235 is 235 millimeters. I'm sorry, 23.5. It's 235 millimeters. And so the arithmetic here is pretty easy to do in your head because you're really only dealing with tens here. And of course, 100 being a 10 as well. But, the arithmetic is pretty simple. All right, so C, we've got 375 millimeters, so let's go ahead and put that 375 mm over 1. All right, we're going to try and get to meters, so we're going to multiply this by, all right, well, we're going to put a millimeter down, 1 millimeter down, well, yeah, we're going to put 1 millimeter down here. Okay, well, no, let's not do that. That'll make the arithmetic actually harder. All right, we're trying to make it easier here. All right, so instead, let's do this. Let's do 1,000 millimeters, and that's equal to 1 meter. Oh, meters with M. All right, this is perfect. We're going to do some cancellation here. And then again, the arithmetic is pretty easy to do in your head. 365 divided by 1,000, well, that's just going to be 0.3. Did I say 65 minutes 75? Holy smokes, today is not my day. All right. And then D, 1,055 meters times, okay, and we're trying to get it to kilometers. Okay, so there are sorry, there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer or kilometer. The meters cancel. So we're left with 1055 divided by 1,000. That's just going to be 1.055 kilometers. Okay. Example 2, much of the same. Matter of fact, all these are, but we'll still go through the process, obviously. So the highest peak on Mount Everest has a height of 8,848 meters. What is the height in kilometers? Okay, so 8,848 meters. Put that over 1. We want to know what the height is in kilometers. So we want to know there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. Again, I chose put the 1,000 on the bottom because I want to cancel my meters. And the arithmetic, 8,848 divided by 1,000. Well, that's just going to be 8.848 kilometers. Excuse me. All right, so this, we're just going to include this into our, do all this, rather. And let me see, maybe we can put example 4 on here as well, instead of having much empty space. Yeah. All right, so convert 56 centimeters to meters using metric conversion line. So this is going to be our metric conversion line. And it says that note the decimal point is aligned over the original unit of metric unit. I'm sorry, metric length. Okay, so if we're trying to go from meters, what are we trying to go for? Centimeters to meters. Okay, well, you know, yeah, I didn't like this when I looked at it to begin with. I thought maybe I would. I'm just gonna go ahead and, well, I'm not gonna say skip it, but they're just an easy. To me personally, the way we did the first 2 examples is just easier to do. Um, well, okay. So let's go back and look at this. All right, well, I want to compare and contrast for you. So uh, the way we converted here, all right, I say it's easier, and it is easier, but now that I think about it, you're not going to be, well, you can be, but you're not going to be doing this every time you convert metric. And honest to God, that's the whole point of converting to metric, is to be able to do it in your head instead of having to do it like this. So notice how let's go back to 1 here. My solutions here, all right, I'm converting 5.6 meters to centimeters. Well, notice how it just turned into 560, right? I just put a 0 on there. Notice how the 23.5, basically just remove the decimal, and I got 235. Same thing here, 375 millimeters to meters. Well, I still maintain a 375. I just, it's now a fraction, right? 0.375. And the same can be said for all of them. Same thing with example 2. And I guess that's really the whole point of this is the metric conversion. Is if I'm going from centimeters to meters, okay, I'm going from one unit of measurement to another. If we have our metric conversion line here, my original is centimeter, which is 2 decimal units away from meter. So what I'm going to do is if I have 56 here, right, 56, you can think of it as 56.0, right? Well, if I'm going from centimeters to meters, I'll just move this decimal 2 points over. So I get 0.56, and that's what we see here. Okay, and we're just doing the measurement, moving it over, and yeah, on it. Now think about it, that this is the whole point of the metric system. We don't have to do it the way we did in example 1 and 2. Okay, well, if we're going from looking at example 2, or sorry, example 4, if we're going from meters to millimeters, well, the original is meters, and then from there we have decimeter, centimeter, and then millimeter. All right, so we're moving our decimal 3 points, and that's what we see here. So 13 and a half Okay, 13 and a half, and if we move our decimal places, or if we move our decimal 3 places to the right, we go 1, 2, 3, and we end up with 13,500. Okay, so that's the whole point, I guess, of our metric conversion line. Uh, and it will have to be memorized, uh, but I don't think. I mean, these are units of measurements that you should be familiar with, right? We know the meter, and then just remember that um, going to the right, we're going deci, centi, milli, and to the right, we're going deca, hecta, and kilo. Okay. Next up, we're going to go big, mega, giga, and tera. This is probably where you've really heard, I don't say really heard, but I'm sure you've heard of these prefixes, especially if you do anything with computers. And by do anything, I mean not necessarily work on them, but just literally sit at one, right? You should be familiar with at least mega and giga because you deal with those quite a bit when it comes to computers. So anyways, let's go right here. So the metric prefixes mega, giga, and tera often appear in today's technological world. For example, you may be familiar with the megapixel on your camera or the gigahertz for computing speed in a computer's memory. I'm sorry, in a computer's memory, a byte is used to store characters, punctuation marks, and numbers. Computer memory may be measured in units as follows. Of course, we see kilo is 1,000, mega is 1,000,000, giga is 1,000,000,000, and tera is 1,000,000,000,000. So we're familiar with a kilo, right? We've done the kilo. Kilo is just 1,000, right? And you know how in the first few examples we had meters as the base unit of measurement? In this particular case, we're going to have bytes, B-Y-T-E-S, or byte, B-Y-T-E as a basic unit of, what would it be? Not sure. All right, so um, example 5, the prefix is mega, giga, and tera. A, how many pixels are in 12 megapixels? Okay, well, if mega is 1,000,000 and there are 12 megapixels, well, then there would obviously just be 12 million pixels. So we would write 12 and then 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. All right, pixels we'll put, well, I guess we have to actually write pixels. All right. And again, notice how I didn't put the comma there. All right, that's because we are now in metric. So how many terabytes are in 17, that would be what, billion? Okay, so tera is in trillions. Okay, so if tera is in trillions and we're wanting to know how many terabytes are in 17 billion bytes, well then we have to do just basically the, the terabyte, rather divide by the terabyte. So we're going to say 17,458. That is billion, right? Yeah. 0, 0, 0, 0. And over a trillion. So we'd say 1, and then this is crazy. So 1, 2, 3. That's billion, million, thousand. Wait. No. One more. Sorry about that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. All right. And then the arithmetic here, okay, we're just going to be 0.0.17, 0, 1, 7, 4, 5, 8 terabytes. So TB. All right. And converting metric units of area. So next up we're going to talk about area. Let's see, can I fit all that in there? Try. Ooh, that's a mistake. Right. Maybe let's just go ahead and snip to example 6 and put it on there as well. Then we can just maybe follow along. Not gonna hurt. It's pretty simple problem. Alrighty. So, looking at example 6, we've got, let's get our little hand here. Well, actually, I'm sorry, we're not looking at example 6 yet. We're going to be converting metric units of area. So, whenever we talk about area, we talk about square units. So recall that area is measured in square units. In metric units, a square that is 1 centimeter long on each side is said to have an area of 1 square centimeter. Right? And of course, you can say that with square millimeters and square meters and square everything. So all we're doing here is 1 square centimeter is 100 square millimeters, and so forth. Okay, so basically the same conversion, it's just now we're going to put a little square on there. So just as unit fractions were used to convert metric measures of length, it can be used to convert measures of area. For example, 1 square centimeter is equal to 100 square millimeters, which is equal to 1. And same thing over here, 10,000 square centimeters is equal to 1 square meter. And using that, again, the same process, we can convert metric units of area. So convert each measurement using unit fractions. So if we have 5 square centimeters, right? Well, how many square millimeters is that? Well, again, same thing we did in examples 1 and 2. We can basically say, well, 5 square centimeters, that's the same thing as saying 100 square millimeters is the same thing as 1 square centimeter. You cancel centimeters, and then you just have 5 times 100, or 500. Right? And if we're trying to go from 4,600 square millimeters to square meters, again, same kind of procedure, we know that 1 square meter is 1 million square millimeters. Cancel the millimeters, and then we multiply that. I'm sorry, divide. 4,600 divided by 1 million. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. And then, again, this is probably the easier part, the easiest point of converting units. And let's see, maybe see if example 8 has much the same, so we can put both those on the same page. Okay, yeah, so much the same here. We converting metric units of area. So if we wanted to convert 253 square millimeters to square centimeters using the metric conversion line, here again we have our metric conversion line. Well, if we're going to move, we're going from millimeters to centimeters. We're only going 1 to the left, and so by doing that, you just move the decimal 1 unit to the left. Um, yeah. Well, I'm sorry, in this particular case, yeah, moving 1 unit to the left, so we go from 253 square millimeters to 2.53 square centimeters. And again, much the same. If we're going to convert 6.1 square meters to square centimeters using metric conversion line, notice how we go going from meters to centimeters, right? Then what we do is we take the decimal, and since we're going at 2 units to the left, we end up with 61,000 square centimeters. Right, and then the last example for today. All right, so did we talk about this? Let me see. Don't think we have. All right. Well, we'll just cover this real quick. So if we're going to convert metric units to land area, so if we want to convert 3 square kilometers to areas, so in order to do that, we're going to make this conversion. We need to know how many areas are in 1 square kilometer. So since 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters, right, then apparently 1 square kilometer is equal to 10,000 areas. Okay, so to do that conversion, again, just going back to our first couple examples, make sure you have the kilometer in the numerator over here and a kilometer in the denominator here. And then we know that 10,000 areas is equal to 1 kilometer. Cancel the kilometers, and that's just 3 times 10,000, which is 30,000. Okay. And yeah, that does conclude today's lecture on the metric system.